Hey everyone, and welcome back. What we're going to be working on today is scrolling. Now, when I think of scrolling, you could have scrolling be a part of a web page, whether that's scrolling from top to bottom, like clicking a link and scrolling and providing that type of motion as a way to actually get people from one place to the other. You could do scrolling and show parallax. And that's something that we're gonna probably work on a little bit today. I'll show you both types of implementations and you can use them in any which way you like. So first off, you can tell that I have a bunch of different things here. I have pictures of the CN Tower. I have like the words Toronto. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put together a web page. And the easiest way to do that is, I've put a couple of these assets. So I'll show you how I'm going to build it and you can work along with me. And I want you to also keep in mind that as we're building this, we're making sure that everything is named correctly because we are going to be using Smart Animate again. I also want you to keep in mind that the way we layer certain things, especially when it comes to parallax, it's going to make a huge difference. So let's jump on in and let's get this page designed and ready to be prototyped. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of extend this page because it is going to be probably a little bit longer. I want to go into my design panel because that's the best way to actually design and not just use the prototype panel. So as you can tell, I already have a couple of different things prepared. I have this background, I have the sky, and we can kind of just place that right there. I am using a grid, so you can use that if you'd like. And the grid will help you make your designs much more accurate when they are like working together with other UI elements. So I like to use that, especially when I'm working on like prototypes. But let's get into it. So we can just create something like this. So this is going to be the background. And I found this image of the CN Tower previously. And if you look, I've already done some work on it. We can go into the group and we can see that it is like a mask. So if I kind of turn off this mask, you'll see that it did have a background and I just went around there with the pen tool and created a mask. And you can see the shape of this mask if I copy and paste it elsewhere. So let me just turn on that mask. This mask, you can see it. I'm going to turn off. So this is kind of something that I created to cut out the actual CN Tower. So let's go back, we'll remove that mask so it is something we do not need to see. Okay, I'm gonna take this whole group and just place it like that. And I wanna create like a really nice composition where maybe like, the words Toronto is moving while we're scrolling. I'm gonna actually place the word Toronto in the back. So I'm going to send that to the back. I'm going to send this other layer to the back as well. So it is looking a little nicer. We can center that. I like to center it just by clicking this kind of align horizontal center icon. So it is centered to the middle of the frame. Now, if I'm looking for the navigation that I created, so I just used auto layout for that nav. And you can as well. So the way I created that was I created a frame around a button and I have the logo on the left side. And if you look at my frame here, it's set to auto layout. There is an auto spacing, and that's because if you go into the alignment and padding section here, I have it spaced between. So if I have it packed, it's going to be based off of like the actual spacing there in between items. But I have it set to space between because it allows me to kind of move it back and forth like that. So we can go ahead and just make sure that that is centered. It's not going to be perfect, and that's totally fine. We just want to get really used to creating parallax effects. Now, this is a pretty harsh. So this little CN Tower portion here, it's a really harsh cutoff. So I've gone ahead and already prepared like a little overlay. And the way I have that built, that's fine. We can actually we can keep it the full width of the screen. So it is going to be the full width. Make sure that snaps there. That's perfectly fine. And we've created a nice little overlay for our CN Tower. So I chose the CN Tower. You know, I'm from Toronto, so it's just kind of something that came to mind really quickly when I was thinking about what to choose as a concept here. So this is just something similar. You can use anything you want. You can use a tower. You can use a background of like mountains and stuff like that. I showed a couple examples when I was going through, you know, good ideas for parallax. So I've kind of created kind of like a brand, a tourist type brand called Look. So I'm going to keep this super simple. It's just going to be like a 2-section design. So I'm just going to kind of take these and bring them in. And when I'm thinking about actually designing this, I'm actually thinking about, well, how do I want these images to show up after they scroll into place? So I'm just going to use my grid here to just help me out a bit. We don't need to follow the grid per se, like perfectly. So I'm just going to make sure that everything is 3 columns wide. Perfect. So what I'm just doing is I'm making sure that they are all the same width. They all fit within that grid kind of structure, and we can go ahead and just place them any which way we want. So I kind of have them, you know, a little staggered like this, and I think that's going to work really nicely. So I'm going to move those up, and then we'll have like a little paragraph. So this is something I think I took this off of Wikipedia. Something really short in terms of like a blurb as to, you know, what Toronto is. It's a beautiful city, and I suggest you all kind of, you know, take a trip out there one day, or out here one day. Okay, so I think this is gonna work, at least for now. Perfect. So I'm gonna just turn off my grid. And if you're ever having issues with things like shortcuts, you can easily go into the help and account section under this kind of Figma icon and go to keyboard shortcuts. And you can see anything in regards to, you know, what is the shortcut for like your tools, your view, your zoom, text, and so on. And that'll really help you, you know, get better at actually using the program, get quicker at using the program so you don't have to keep on doing things manually. Okay, so what I have here is my design already. So it's a nice little simple thing, super simple actually. And now you're possibly thinking about, how do we animate this? A couple of ways we can go about doing that, and I will jump into that in the next video.